Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out DJI's newest camera, the Osmo Action 5 Pro. We're going to talk about what's new and how it compares to the previous generation Action 4, and then we're going to jump straight into some riding footage. Full disclosure before we get started, DJI sent me this camera for free as well as a small commission to make this video, but they have no input into the content itself. Now the big change with the Action 5 Pro is a brand new sensor that offers better dynamic range. Now what does this mean for mountain biking? It means better footage in high contrast scenarios. For example, when you're filming in the forest on a sunny day and you have bright highlights and dark shadows. This is a very challenging situation for an action camera, and it's where the Action 5 Pro shines. Here's another example of dynamic range with both cameras filming in D-Log-M with the LUT applied. I'll pause and zoom in on one of the bright parts of this shot. Notice how the two cameras have exposed that sign. The Action 5 Pro does a much better job of maintaining color and detail. Not only that, if we zoom into the shadows, you'll notice the same thing. There is much more detail in that part of the shot. Battery life is also improved on the Action 5 Pro with the addition of a high-capacity battery and more efficient processor. With real-world testing in 4K 30, D-Log-M, and rock-steady stabilization on, I was able to record for up to 2 hours and 50 minutes on a single battery. DJI has also added 47 gigs of internal storage, a handy feature when you forget your SD card at home. Another new feature is the ability to connect two DJI wireless mics to the camera at the same time, so you can mic up a friend or pick up more trail sounds. The Action 5 also uses new OLED touchscreens, which are larger, brighter, and more vibrant than those found on the Action 4, which is most noticeable when you're looking at the camera in bright light. Also important to note that both touchscreens are sensitive enough to operate using gloves. The Action 5 Pro uses DJI's quick-release magnetic mount that latches on quickly and securely with no rattle. It also comes with a protective frame that allows you to film vertically for Instagram and TikTok. The quick-release mount is one of my favorite features because it allows you to take your camera off without affecting your camera angle. Speaking of camera angle, a useful tip is to scratch a reference mark over the mount with an X-Acto knife to make it easier to fine-tune your camera angle as needed. For POV footage, I mount my camera to my full-face helmet using 3D printed mounts by ProBike 3D. I have an upper chin mount for filming vertically and a lower chin mount for filming widescreen. The Action 5 Pro starts at $349 US for the standalone camera, but also comes in a number of different combos depending on your activity. Typically recommend the Adventure combo, adds a selfie stick, 2 extra batteries, as well as a fast charging case that stores 3 batteries and 2 SD cards at a time, making it a very handy piece of kit for traveling. The case also has indicator lights which tell you approximately how much charge is left in each battery. Now let's jump into the riding footage. I'll start with some sample video and audio clips from the Action 5 Pro and finish off with some side-by-side comparisons against the Action 4. Whoa. Woo. Hi there. Wild. All right, quick mic test. Got the DJI Mic 2 hooked up to the bottom of my fork. I also have a DJI Mic 2 hooked up to the side of the camera. And then I'm also gonna have the backup audio, which uses the built-in speakers. We're gonna head down Lower Espresso. Next, let's look at some comparison footage between the Action 5 Pro and the Action 4. I'll let you watch the footage and then I'll summarize some of my observations at the end. Well, we're probably about 20 minutes past sunset and it is uncomfortably dark. I'm gonna test the Action 4 against Action 5 Pro. Now I'll point out a few differences that I picked up. I mentioned this earlier, but the improved dynamic range on the Action 5 Pro is noticeable and makes a big difference on sunny days. Highlights retain more detail and are less blown out compared to the Action 4 footage. The Action 5 Pro is also able to shoot the same scene with a faster shutter speed, so each frame looks crisp and there is less motion blur. One area where the Action 4 does a better job is retaining details in the shadows when filming in normal 10-bit color mode, which is the default setting. If I zoom in on these tire tracks, the Action 4 retains more detail while the Action 5 Pro looks artificially smooth. After doing some digging, it sounds like this issue might be fixed by a new firmware update that DJI just released on October 18th, but this footage was filmed before that, so I'll have to test that out in the next video. Interestingly, when shooting in D-Log M mode, I don't notice any loss of detail in the shadows, and if anything, the Action 5 Pro retains more detail in both the shadows and the highlights, albeit with a bit more color noise. In terms of low light, the Action 5 Pro footage had much less noise compared to the Action 4, but more jitters as the stabilization faltered. This is another issue that I'll have to test out in the next video, as the firmware update also addresses stabilization performance in low light. Thanks for watching today's video. If you're interested in the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro, please go check out the link down in the description and let me know what you think of the footage down in the comments.